touch.
Thanks, man.
I just can't. I never could raise fish. I would
No.
always die in my house.
Hey, we're live.
We are live with a special guest
South Florida Pete lovers in the 6.
Oh,
in the
they
six.
let this guy in the country. Can you believe it?
Actually, believe it or not, they stopped me for about 2 hours. I just told them, don't even bother. Don't let me in. Don't bother.
That's why we're a little postponed, to be honest, because we're waiting for customs to let them through, and now we're good.
Yeah.
We're clear.
We made it.
We're clear. I just got like something attached to my ankle now, but that's it.
The money that you used to pay him
Yeah.
off was a little bit late on the wire transfer, so it's all good. All good.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
So, listen, I am super excited to be here. I can't even begin to tell you how this is surreal. Even when Rob just opened the door, I was like, dude, what's up?
It was a
So,
cool feeling. For
Pretty
sure.
awesome. These guys live like rock stars, and this is just cool as hell. And so I'm looking forward to good conversation, good whiskey. Obviously, he done dropped the kitchen sink on me and said, grab whatever you want. And I said, hey, just dealer's choice. Let's go.
Yeah, the good whiskey won't be the issue. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's for sure.
Plenty
And
of
then,
that.
obviously, Jeremy, he's here and he playing it cool, but he's a bad motherfucker. He's playing it cool.
I don't know about that.
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
joining
cheers.
us. Cheers.
Hey, the pleasure's all ours.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
awesome
you
to have
for
here.
having me. And Toronto is an excellent city. This is a little ways out, but I can appreciate that because I live about maybe 25 miles out from Disney.
Okay.
So it takes me just about as long as it took me to come here
Yep.
from Toronto
Sure.
that it would take me to go from my house to Disney.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you get traffic getting here? Because usually there's a bit.
It wasn't terrible. It was more like the traffic lights just take a long time.
Yeah.
So longer than I find them to take at least in my area of town.
Okay.
So the traffic probably doesn't flow as good. But so tell me, what do we got here? Obviously,
We are. Yeah.
Springbank, is dear to my heart. And when Rob was like, hey, take a look around, and obviously Jeremy already started flashing.
I just
the
went
other
right
one.
to this immediately.
He went straight to the bad boy, and then I said, well, Rob is like, hey, take a look around. What do you want from them? I was like, I have a soft spot for the Springbanks. So why don't you just bring one of those, and then we'll kind of just shoot the shit over here.
That's it.
And then maybe there's some live comments and things of that nature that come around, and we could probably feed the crowd. But this is fantastic.
So we're gonna try to answer some comments. Hello to everybody that's here. We got 27 in the house. That's not bad. That's a nice night. It's a little far for to get everybody in frame. You guys can actually tuck in a little bit, and then it'll be this way. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so we're gonna do our best. If we had Jeremy's camera, it would probably been a little bit easier.
See, I'm telling you, he's a badass. But nobody, not taking any, and you're not taking any of these in right now. But actually, the whole spot, the whole thing is just cool. I know you all get the background here, but even coming down into the building, it's like an experience.
Into the whiskey.
It's
and
an
the
experience.
Six. Yeah, the whiskey and the six experience.
I've found a way to fit all my hobbies in one little area.
Yeah, no, I can see that, and it sucks that we don't have basements in Florida because I've always wanted to, but you can't get me and my wife out of Florida, so we're just going to give this up.
Yeah.
Maybe we just build a rooftop bar or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gotta go up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. My sister-in-law's from Florida, and she moved here when she, got together with my brother. And yeah, during the winter months, she's like a lost puppy sometimes. You can tell, she's just like, why am I here? What am I doing? There's such a nice country or area where I'm from, better weather.
But it's hot as hell right now.
That's
Good Lord. And we're dead smack in the middle of hurricane season right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start getting stuff brewing, and everybody got to hunker down, and you know how that goes. But talk to me about, what do you think about the Pete lover showing up and brotherless, right? I'm brotherless in Toronto.
That's it. Yeah.
It's almost like being in Seattle.
Well, is your brother in the chat? He was in the chat earlier. I hope he's still in there.
I have no idea.
Or was he? Yeah, he was, right? Yeah.
Well, show.
Or was that?
Yeah,
Was
highlight
this?
that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's gonna be here.
He's coming in.
All right.
Yeah,
In
he's coming
September.
in for Blue Jays.
In September. All right,
There you
we'll
go.
do this again, then.
Yeah, we'll do this again.
I know he's flying in with his kids and stuff like that. He threw me the dates. I haven't really dabbled with it because I got a whole bunch of stuff coming up between October, September. So I got a lot of travel coming up in this couple of months. But if I could swing it, I'll definitely make it.
Yeah. Have you tried this particular batch?
I absolutely don't know about the batch itself. I've had the 15.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother, I thought we did a review on this. My memory is failing me. I'm about to hit 50. But, as far as Springbank, I love the peat and sherry in it. It's just unmatched. There's not too many that make it like them. And every time I get an opportunity to drink some Springbank, I'm all over it.
Oh, yeah.
This one is one of the most heavily sherry influenced Springbanks we've had. Maybe, I don't know about ever, but it's up there.
This one and the one right behind you are the most. And there's actually a 2021 that's almost, I think that's the one I did the head-to-head with.
This is about as heavily sherry as Springbank goes for.
Those three are the heaviest that I've ever had by far.
Maybe maybe some of those old school ones.
Yeah, like
are the same, but new edition Springbanks, like the last 5-10 years, I think.
10 years, I would say.
It, right?
Yeah. And this is, for me, this is probably the best bottle that Springbank came out with in the last
and
3-4
this
years.
is the 2021.
This is the 22.
20,
this is the 22, and the one behind you is the 22. This one is, I think, June, and that one is January.
June 16th.
Yeah.
They just do such a great job. And I didn't really start drinking Springbanks until my brother put me onto it maybe like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And every expression that I've had so far has been absolutely really good, pleasant. Gives you the feeling that if tomorrow the building is burning, should I grab something else?
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to grab one of these.
Yeah, you take
it's hard.
Springbanks with you and go.
I agree.
Right, it's just hard to ignore it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really nice one. Now, what do we got here? I know we kind of chatted a little bit about this guy earlier, but it's so intriguing, right? And every time I see like a little sticker with a UK on it, I get excited. I get like this, hey, how come this didn't, why all the bottles that we get here don't have it?
So I acquired this one in a trade.
Okay.
It took a BTAC bottle to get this.
Oh.
Yeah. So I traded a Thomas H. Handy for this Spey malt. And that's only because I had a Spey malt earlier on in the year, and we absolutely fell in love with it. It's Macallan. So it's Macallan with a hand-selected barrel from Gordon MacPhail. They brought it to Macallan, filled that barrel with Macallan juice, brought it back, and then aged it for 19 years.
Oh, my God. It's almost like you want to pour it on top of like some like vanilla ice cream.
I know, right? Like that, it is that good.
And you can't get cast strength Macallan at this age for the price.
No, like the equivalent of the fine and rare series that they have.
Yeah,
I think it's called the exceptional casks.
Yeah, you're looking at what, $5,000 for a bottle like that.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Probably more. Probably I think the 21 was like $7,000. I think. Yeah. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's hard for someone, at least for me, knowing that I could get things, bottles of like great liquor and paid $7,000 for something.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, I've been in situations where I've gone places like, do you guys smoke cigars at all?
Oh,
Yeah. This guy's in love with cigars. Yeah.
Jeremy, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
So then, I've been in situations where someone will buy a stick for like $1,000,
Wow.
and then a stick for $75, and you really can't tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And so, are we really doing it because we have the ability to just spend the money and not care,
Mm-hmm.
or is it because I'm really trying to get the things that I really enjoy?
Yep.
And so in a lot of cases, there are things that I just enjoy the hell out of them, you know, like, and they're not the most expensive one.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember when me and my brother first started doing videos, I think one of the first ones we did was the Glenfiddich 30-year-old. And we thought, and back then, this is over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
back
you
then,
guys have been doing videos for what, 11 years?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. Time is just flying too. But here's the thing. We went and bought, well, my brother bought it. You know, like 2 of the nice wood boxes. They open up like the double car garage type deal. And for like, I don't know, maybe $350 at the time. That bottle, I don't even know how much it goes for now. And we drank that bottle and we were kind of like idolizing it for the fact that it was that old. And we thought it was the greatest thing. But we've ran into other Glenfiddichs that were a lot cheaper. They were a lot better. Like, you know, there was one that, you know, Cask of Dreams was one that we did.
That was a great
That
one.
thing is phenomenal.
Yeah, that was
right.
Great.
My brother had grabbed one that was called a Snow Phoenix.
Yeah,
that thing was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I think we got those under $120.
Yep,
at the time.
Now the Snow Phoenix is worth like $2,000.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yo, Tito, you got one of those?
Well, you're right, because like we were lucky enough to try some crazy expensive whiskey. Actually, most recently we tried $35,000 bottle.
Yeah, we've been spoiled by Gordon MacPhail,
yeah.
in particular. Gordon MacPhail has invited us to events.
I've seen some of the stuff, which is, to me, it was like, all right, this guy's like, what's going on here?
No, it's crazy.
We don't even know what's going on.
No,
we're
we're two basic dudes that get invited to these events, and we're like, just show up. And we have no idea what we're doing there, but we're like so grateful.
Right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm in the industry. I'm like, I don't know. We talk about a podcast. It gets 1,000 views an episode.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and just from my side of here, I'm not tooting you guys' horn. I think what you get as a viewer when I watch you guys is that, you know, these guys enjoy what they're doing there, but they're humble about it. They're not cocky about it. They want to educate people about it. And I think that's probably what draws most of your viewers.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Not because of what you got, because I could go find somebody that's probably doing some of these things.
Yeah.
But would I enjoy it as much? Probably not. You know, like the viewing part of it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what we liked about your channel, why we've been watching it for a decade.
Yeah.
Is you and your brother got the great banter going on back and forth. But at the same time, you've got so much knowledge and a respectable opinion about what you're drinking.
All that experience. Like you guys.
Yeah.
You know.
For us, you know, like I think for us, what we always wanted to do was make it entertaining. Is what we're always trying to achieve, right? Like if we can make it entertaining, you know, like sometimes we get lost. Like right now, we're going to sit here and probably talk for 30 minutes. Time is going to go by like that.
Yeah.
But then what happens with time like that is that you lose engagement.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Because not everybody has the luxury to sit around for any day to just watch 2 or 3 videos. I would like to watch 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But time doesn't allow for it, you know? And so if I could, you know, like we went in that direction many times where we're like, oh, damn, we're getting into like 30, 40 minutes. It's like, nobody's going to be watching that for that long. And so then even to getting into like a 10-minute one, and you probably disagree with me, but maybe it's one of those that it's just hard to do because you get into a rhythm and you have to like let it breathe. You got to know. So you know, you talk about it and then you start comparing. Before you know, you're like 15, 20 minutes in.
Yeah, true. No, you're bang on. And that's why, like, when we do our rants, they tend to be, you know, like it's a podcast that we end up posting on YouTube because it's meant to be like throw it on when you're driving a long distance and then you can just listen to it as like, you know, because like you said, when you're sitting in front of a computer, our attention span's only so long.
Oh, absolutely.
You throw on a YouTube video, if it's more than 10 minutes, odds are they're not sticking around, right? So
it just smells so good.
This Springbank, honestly, if I had to choose one bottle for the rest of my life, this would be it.
Wow.
It would because
that's praise.
That's a strong statement.
But it has to be these batches in particular, though.
Right. I just don't I don't completely disagree because I know that I have some bottles that I would love to walk out if the house was burning and if I had only one.
Yeah.
But if I had one of these, it will make my decision. So man, I might be burning down in the trying to make the decision to come out.
You didn't make it out. He was
No,
trying to
no, you
decide.
thought about it too long. So yeah, no, this is really it's a great whiskey, great scotch, right? It's just, there's no other way to put it. And for those that don't like it, you know, too bad, because it's just that good.
Yeah. You know, honestly, like someone made a comment on the channel yesterday, I think it was, and I just kind of ignored it, but it was, I hate that you guys mentioned Springbank so much because they don't deserve the praise, because it's so hard to attain a Springbank bottle. And it's like, is that Springbank's fault that they're hard to attain? Or is that greed that like other people are flipping bottles and not opening their stuff? And
so there's people there are, I think we all know this based on the life that we live. You see products that make it globally. There's products that make it just regionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of time has to do with just a variety of things. One being like maybe the ambition of that product maker. Do you want to go global?
Right.
Or sometimes it's just the limitations of not being able to get it out there because of some regulation of some sort.
Yeah.
And so for someone to say that, why do you praise it? Well, if you can't get your hands on it, it's really not a fair statement, because once you get your hands on it, you'll understand why.
Yeah. And it's not Springbank's fault, and they could ramp up production. They don't run their stills all the time, right?
Yeah.
They could produce, what was it? We said that they would produce 75 million liters. They could produce 150 if they wanted to,
right?
But they don't, because what are you going to fill that cask with? Can you source cask good enough for this? Cask good enough for this? If you can't, then you're going to be sourcing casks that aren't quite as good, and then your product's going to dip.
Yeah.
And like they don't want it to.
Well, and this is what everybody criticizes. As soon as a company tries to expand to the point where they're able to provide their product to everyone, people complain, well, the quality's gone down so much.
Right.
So
right.
it's a double-edged sword.
You can't keep up with the demand, right?
Yeah.
And I think we saw that. I don't know. I think, or at least I know my brother and I are very critical of it. Macallan. We saw that with the Macallans. They went from having this wonderful 12-year-olds, really dark and rich, sherry spirits, to now you see a 12-year-old and you're like, whoa, it doesn't even look as dark anymore.
No, it's not.
And it's almost like, and then they started transitioning from the age statement bottles to the non-age, to like the Ruby, the Enigma, the Lumina, whatever, because now they can't even put an age statement on it.
Yeah.
So they got to come up with some like naming convention that's going to be appealing to people.
Yeah, that 1824 series really, like,
that was the turn.
Yeah, that was the turn, right? Because before that, Macallan had a huge reputation. After that, people like, they felt like they sold out, like that rock star that sells out and starts playing like pop music. You know? That's basically what happened.
Yeah, I don't. And all the full disclosure, I don't know when was the last time I bought a Macallan bottle.
Yeah. This was a gift. That
prices went up. Right.
They've gone up, and I think that the quality of their output is not the same.
Yeah. And we did a blind side by side at old Macallan and new Macallan 12, and they were actually still pretty solid. The new Macallan 12 is still really good, but it's double the price now. Right. It's double the price.
Yeah.
And like you're not getting quite as much as you did, but like just crazy how much the prices have gone up.
Yes.
No,
out of control.
Yeah.
I feel like we should allow these guys to choose our next drink. Oh. What do you think about that?
I think that's great. This is making interactive here. You probably, hey, throw me some poison. Like give me some.
I got a question for the peat lovers, because like we started watching your channel a long time ago. Why peat lover? Because like you don't even review peated scotch. I'm like, how many Ardbeg episodes you have? One. How many Lagavulins? Two. How many, Lafroigs?
It's just one of those ironic things, right? Because when we were trying to come up with a name, we couldn't figure out, right, what we wanted the name to be.
Yeah.
So we started talking about like, what should we call ourselves, right? And then my brother at the time had a little fetish with peat and sherry. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, well, we're from Florida, and at the time we talk about this all the time. At the time it was the whiskey bitches of this world and some other ones that were, obviously Ralphie's always been around. And we're like, like these people go by like, they come up with different names but what do we call ourselves? It's two of us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So we happen to be sitting in my brother's backyard in his house in Miami. And we're like, okay, we're in South Florida. And my brother's like, well, and I love Pete. And so I'm sure if you ask him, it'll probably a different rendition of the story. But you know, and it was like, well, South Florida Pete lovers. It was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. It's a great name.
Yeah.
And it's stuck. Like I started watching you guys way before I even thought about having a channel.
I know. I couldn't believe that when you first said that. I was like, that's not true.
I know,
I
it's
was like,
true.
that's
Legit.
not true.
And Jeremy and I didn't necessarily, well, we didn't know each other until I started Whiskey in the Six and we were interacting on YouTube.
Mhm.
And we had that in common, that we watched you guys, we watched Ralphie, we watched a few of the guys that you know, preceded us, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I thought, you know, when I didn't really get to know Jeremy maybe until about a little over a year ago, you know, because I have removed myself. Remember, we have gone on a hiatus, and I just wasn't even watching a whole lot of stuff. And then one day, like, my brother's like, yo, you got to check out Rob. And I'm like, all right, let me just go in. And I'm like, who is this guy? I was like, wait a minute. They just flipped the script on us. And then I you know, it become more of a fixture that you guys were doing things together. So I thought it was like, they actually have a good flow going back and forth, because they do agree on some things, but they don't always agree on the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's important that we
which is why I think is right, the following and what you guys have created. And obviously you do a lot of editing that a lot of other people's, like me and my brother, straight raw. Like what got recorded is what got recorded, you know, and that's it. And so because I don't have the time to go edit and change. And, I try to do some things and I always wind up screwing something, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing the editing. My brother refuses to do the editing.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, and but we like to drop in little things here and there, you know, and it makes it fun.
It is fun. I actually enjoy it. I enjoy watching. You know, there's other whiskey tubers out there. I'm not gonna call no names because we're chilling here. But there's I enjoy watching some of the other ones. You know, over the years, Ralphie grew on me. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Ralphie coming out of the gate. Not because Ralphie didn't spit knowledge. It was because his style for me wasn't really, maybe it's just my personality type, you know? But then when you sit down and you watch Ralphie, he actually has a good personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the part that I was missing from watching Ralphie. It was, why am I not giving him a shot on his personality, you know? And it changed everything for me once I did.
Sure.
Yeah. My son's writing a message I can't read from that far back.
Taken hostage.
Okay. Go up, dude. Someone's taking hostage. So there was only one suggestion so far, and
I'll let them know that I'm drinking this. This is the new Springbank Local Barley 11.
That's the new one. That's the 2023.
And I'm getting a lot of barbecue out of this, which I don't normally get in other Springbanks, which is really nice. Really, really nice.
Yeah. Someone suggested Aaron 18, which is super sherry. This is what happens on a live, guys. Usually when we do the rant, we edit out the parts where my son Tristan comes down and causes ruckus. But dude, you got to go to bed. Your mom, if she finds out, you're dead.
And this is recorded, so there's evidence.
Yeah, she's gonna cancel your party. Exactly.
Yeah, party's canceled.
All right, so Aaron 18 was suggested. We can throw that up there.
Whoa. I looked for that bottle, I want to say like 2 months ago on the Whiskey Exchange. And what they wanted for shipping was ridiculous.
You gotta do 6 bottles to make it worthwhile, something like that.
And so it's getting to a point I'm going to have to just make an investment now. It's not even a purchase.
Right.
Yeah, it's an investment now.
This is the Springbank 10PX.
You know,
that came out.
For some reason, right? The colors that they also use, or the color palette, it almost like it calls your attention. I don't know. I don't know if it's me or is it I'm just making this up in my head.
No.
But I think the color palette they use just calls your attention on every single one of their labels.
And I'm one of the only people who I don't like the Springbank labels. I
don't
like it. No.
I find that the S is very attractive.
Yeah.
And
I like
not
that too.
yeah, like the S is just like I wish I could do an S like that just regularly when
Yeah.
I
Just
write.
to write it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone in the chat agrees with me or if they all like Springbank label. I don't like the Springbank label. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, and look, there are some labels that are just not. I'm like, wait a minute, why?
I don't like Glen Allenke's label. I don't like.
So Peter is asking for a knock 24.
Oh, that's a good one.
There's Aaron 18 here. That we have a glass port of the Spain malt on the side. Well, yours is fit. No, you didn't pour that. The Spain
I
malt
didn't
if
pour
you
it.
wanted it. There's a Springbank 10PX that we can have, or literally anything else that you see on the bar. But
Good Jesus.
You've assembled a nice little array.
there's also this Weller. I don't know if you want to go to bourbon after having so many great bottles of scotch.
This is guys, I wasn't supposed to be making tough decisions. Coming
This
over
is
here.
supposed to be easy.
Yeah, this is supposed to be easy.
This is my struggle every night.
Well, it is a struggle. Sometimes I walk into because I have my kind of like you, man cave slash, bar slash, everything else office slash, like,
Right.
like all of my combined talents, right?
Yeah.
And then I go to when like I feel like drinking something, and I go and I have something in mind, but when I get them, I'm like, oh damn,
Yeah.
damn, like I haven't had this in a while. But wait a minute, I haven't had this one either.
Right? That's
Then I walk out with 2 bottles, and my wife is like, Carlos, what are you doing? It's like, oh, well, I'm gonna have a little bit of this one, and depending how I feel, I may have another one of this.
I do that too, and I pour it and I drink it. I'm like, oh, I don't want this one. And I go,
Yeah.
I
I know. I do that. I
One
do.
sip, and I'm like, oh, I made a mistake.
The
there.
worst is when I have to make a decision because my wife wants to so it actually tonight it's actually a little bit humid down here, but usually it's really cold in the
Mhm.
basement, and upstairs is like, the air conditioning is set to 21 or whatever it is. There's some nights that I have to come down here, pour a glass, and then go back upstairs. That's the worst. Like that takes me a good 30
yeah.
minutes because I'm committed. Once I pour that, walk
That's
up the
right.
stairs, I don't want to
You
come
can't
back
come, you don't come
upstairs.
back down.
So
Yeah, it's I get it. It's so hard. Think about it like this. In Florida, for instance, I was just cutting grass yesterday. Hence, you see it looked like a lobster today, but it was like maybe about 100 degrees when I was cutting grass, and I felt like I was going to have an improper shutdown. And so I walk in, I walk in the house, and the first thing I want is I want a cold beer.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll drink a pound of cold beer, but then it's very hard for me to even want to have a scotch or bourbon
True.
when it's so hot. You know what I mean? So it has to be an evening where maybe I'm having a nice piece of red meat and the house is nice and cold.
Yeah.
Or some of my boys come and say, hey, let's smoke a cigar. Then,
Yeah.
in that sense. But during the day when it's hot, it's not even appealing to me.
Yeah.
No, you're right. There definitely is a time that like really hot days, nothing goes better than a cold beer.
Yeah. There's only a few Scotch whiskeys that you can drink in a hot day. Right?
Yeah.
Something like a lighter profile, maybe like an ex-bourbon cask.
Ex-bourbon, very light.
Yeah, like the Compass Box Orchard House. That one was one that we thought you could drink because it's light,
Yeah.
fruity. not
Actually,
heavy.
there's a couple that I will actually recommend. Have you ever seen the Toki?
That's Japanese?
The Japanese.
Yeah.
So the Toki, my brother and I did a video on that, and it has a lot of pineapple notes. And if you drink it chilled, is fantastic on a hot afternoon. And so I think it's actually a good starter for the ladies if they don't like my wife refuses to drink any scotch.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah,
You
my
should
wife too.
Hates the smell, the everything. But for a starter for the ladies, that Toki I think will be a great starter, even if you put a little bit of, because they already got pineapple notes, maybe a little pineapple juice or a little bit, just a tap of maybe orange juice, so it could kill some of the alcohol burn that the ladies don't like.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's a great one if you wanted to drink it, chilled.
Yeah.
We have granite rocks that we put in the freezer, and instead of putting actual ice, you just take the granite cold rocks.
Yeah, the cold rocks. Yeah, those are cool.
So one to loop.
Yeah, so I got some thoughts that just kind of came to mind, and so kind of let's shoot the shit on this. So we got a lineup here of star-studded boys.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of them got one thing in common: sherry for the majority of them.
True.
If you had to compare two of those, which one will be and why? Well, like just to compare contrast, right? And I'll give you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this one, this spade malt, and this red.
Yeah.
Those two, just based on the color, attract for me. It gives me the, hey, you know what? I wonder if they taste alike or different.
Yeah. This is really, really nice. Have you tried?
No, I never. And I love the bottle.
The bottle is the best.
The bottle
honestly, like
awesome.
we've commented on that.
I do
before.
like their new bottle.
This is like possibly one of the nicest bottles in the market. And they changed their whole line to this bottle. Unfortunately, the new Aaron is not as dark as this, right? The new 18,
but
apparently it's better
still
according to
good.
some.
Yeah.
Did you want to go for this one?
Let's give it a shot because I already got a little bit of that spade malt here.
Yeah, you got the spade malt there.
Yeah, that'd be a good comparison. I think for me, I would say the Springbank 10 PX and that Springbank 15 would be similar in the respect that they're both very heavily sherried Springbanks. And then
that's a good call.
I would try that Enoch 24, compare that to the spade malt.
My brother's
That would be
a
a
fan
good
of
one.
the Enoch.
Yeah, Enoch's great too. That Enoch is really good. It's probably less shared. There's some bourbon influence in the Enoch. There's
man, that nose is just candy, man.
Oh my god.
The local barley is 70% bourbon cask, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. What is it? I don't even know.
I think it's 70-30.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong, but I think it's 70% bourbon cask.
It's got that thing right here is like.
This is what like a Macallan used to be like.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all like toffee. It's like that's really good. That Aaron 18 is always.
I think this is my third.
When we did that in the blind, where did it come out?
It ended up losing in that round against the winner. Well, your winner, the Glen Alecky 18 that I no longer have. Yeah. There's some cork in there.
Oh, you don't want that bottle anymore. You better hand it over.
That is just an elegant bottle. Like, you know what I mean? It's just elegant. Everything about it is elegant.
And great value for money, too.
Absolutely.
How much that goes for you?
We got a really
Canadian,
good deal.
right?
Like, yeah, was it 130?
120 Canadian. We got these.
120 Canadian is like $100 US,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
It's a little less. It's like 90 something US.
You can't go wrong for that price.
I could probably grab maybe I'll check in the airport and duty free and see if they got anything.
In the Florida duty free, maybe. In the Toronto duty free is garbage.
Don't even bother.
Garbage.
Man.
Toronto sucks for
unless you want like a cheap mixer, it's fine.
If you try to find any of this stuff at the local liquor stores around here, you will not.
So I was in the Republic the other day, and I was sending my brother some pictures. That I want to show you stuff that we can't even get in Florida.
You can get here.
Well, I was in Dominican Republic.
Oh, in Dominican.
Oh, Dominican. Yeah.
And check this out. So,
yeah, those are the
special
and they're on sale too. I bet you that's
like a villain.
Was it decently priced, or
so they had a Glendron 10, which I've never seen before,
and a 16. Yeah, I heard about that.
So those are travel exclusives, yeah.
Travel exclusives,
right? Yeah, travel market exclusive.
Yeah. Nice.
There was maybe
yeah, I saw some of those Glendronic travel exclusives.
Oh, this is Lefroy.
I was gonna pull the trigger on it. Yeah,
this one I heard about.
I've had that before.
Yeah, we've had that, right?
Yeah,
pretty good.
So, and they had like all the all the other ones.
That's a good bottle. You try that?
No, my brother sent me.
Glenturret 12. That's a good.
If you want to know if you should try it.
Yeah, my brother sent me that picture the other day, and he was like, "You got to get one of these."
Yeah, that's good. That's the closest thing to Macallan right now. Like the closest, like.
Here's one.
What Macallan used to be.
That I haven't been able to get anywhere, but I got this in. I want to say it was in one of the islands. I forget where I was, but
Bowmore 18.
Well, this one right here is it's a
it's PX.
PX and Oloroso.
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
I don't think I've seen that one before.
Is that travel exclusive as well?
Maybe. Where was I? We were on a cruise. We stopped in one of the islands. I want to say it wasn't Bahamas. It was St. Kitts.
Okay.
We're in St. Kitts, and I'm like, let me just. I always check. Let me just go in there and see what they got. And they had one.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm taking it right now. It was $80.
What's it cost to
That's
go on a
not bad.
cruise? Because
That's
like
not bad.
my wife and I have been looking at trips in the last little while, and from here just to fly anywhere
Mhm.
is absurd.
Well, it depends where you want to go and where you want to sell out of, right? So,
Would you drive down to Miami or is it?
well, where I'm at in Orlando, I'm 45 minutes away from Port Canaveral, and there's a big port there. But then we have Fort Lauderdale Port and the Miami Port.
Okay.
And then Fort Lauderdale Port is just as good as the Miami.
Okay.
And I mean, the huge ships all come out of there.
That's
So
true.
So just jumping on a cruise, you're not paying. Well, yeah, that's a.
Amount reviews in the house. Peter White was saying Ontario is the worst place in the world to shop for scotch, which is true.
No, that's 100% true. Now the thing is, we don't buy our scotch from here.
Right.
We buy it within the country, but we don't buy it from this province.
Oh, look at
because
this.
it's
Saying the local barley 11 has some rum in it. And now, is this the local barley 11 from this year?
this is the 2022. I lied. This is the 2022, December 12th,
55
2022.
sherry, 35 bourbon, 10% rum as per whiskey base.
Okay.
If that is the stats from the
No, that
2022.
35% sherry seems high. It doesn't look like it has. I mean, it could. Maybe it's not fresh.
Yeah, it might not be fresh. Sorry, we've been like neglecting the chat. What's
We
up?
have,
You
yeah.
guys are,
Jeremy has long arms. He's gonna be in charge of the chat. Sorry, guys. We part of the reason why we are, we're just shooting the shit because we also never had this chance before. So
Yeah, it's almost like we can just talk about whatever right now, and it's okay.
None of that left. That got crushed. That was a great bottle.
Bowmore 15 Lamreg was a beautiful bottle.
Yeah.
I know a couple guys that have
Bowmore
one.
makes such a good product. I'm okay with all their products.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a bad Bowmore. All right, let's see. All right, the nose. Wow. Well, the nose on this right here, after sitting for a good 20 minutes, is outstanding.
Yeah.
It's cherry. It's a
Oh
cherry
my-
bomb. And
Cherry,
not to be mistaken
vanilla.
with sherry. It's like specific to the fruit cherry.
Mm.
I get so much cherry off of that.
Oh my God.
This was one of our favorites last year.
Yeah, I think it was my whiskey of the year, or did it fall just shy of something that was also ridiculously good?
Wasn't it your Bowmore 23?
Bowmore 21 was my whiskey of the year.
Yeah.
That's right. The Bowmore 21 Aston Martin was the whiskey of the year, and then this came in second, and they were both absurd.
No, this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, as good as this smells right now, this RM,
The
the
Spain Malt-
nose in the Spain Malt is like nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, and
No,
this is a
yeah.
really good nose.
Yeah. It's hard to touch this at 19 years at 53.8%.
Yeah,
You know?
Mm.
yeah. When do you get a chance to get a Macallan at that price, at that ABV, at that age? Not happening.
The Aaron is actually pretty darn good.
Darren's great.
Yeah, it is very good
Yeah,
as well.
Darren's
It
great.
is very
Holy
good as well.
shit. Yeah, I will be an alcoholic down here in this basement. I tell you right now, I mean, like, they'll have to drag me upstairs.
Yeah. This is the best bar in Toronto. The prices there are out of control good.
Yeah, $1 for pour is the best place you're gonna definitely buy. Any, there are some good bars in Toronto. If you get a chance in the next 2 days while you're here, check out the Caledonian if you can,
Okay.
because they have some excellent stuff as well. They have some because they buy a lot from auction. They have some very vintage Springbank stuff.
Yeah, they have a good menu there.
There's also a really nice restaurant that has a great bar as well, called Via Allegro.
Via Allegra. Is that in downtown?
It's like halfway between downtown and here.
Okay.
Uh,
I was looking at it because I was down by like 5:30. Like, I walked back to the hotel. Like, let me charge my phone. Like, I wonder if there's I just catch an Uber like halfway there and find something. and
Yeah.
then kill a little bit of time and then show up. But then I was like, damn, I gotta eat. And I don't know what the reception is gonna be like, but I know he's got a lot of liquor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I'm glad you didn't drink anywhere before you got here, because this would have been the cost of what you would have had to pay is more than your Uber.
Bro, like right now, those guys are just waiting for people to show up. They have a open. They call it office hours.
Yeah,
but they really just have a bar tab open.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like everybody show up for office hours.
Yeah. That was a good one.
My brother's big on ball players.
Those 90s were incredible.
Yeah.
Those 90s were incredible.
Yeah. I'm upset that they got rid of that vintage style of age dating their bottles. You know?
I can't remember if I traded away my last Babbler 90 or not.
Yeah.
I think I might have.
They switched that, I think, because people were confused about like how old the actual whiskey was, right? Like it didn't necessarily have a big age date in front.
No.
They were like 20 plus years old.
So they got up to like 26 or 27 years old, those Babbler 90s.
Yeah.
And they were, at the time, by far the best bang for your buck, because they were like $130 for a Babbler 27-year-old 90.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and they're like
That's
heavily sherried. Yeah, they're actually.
Yeah, my brother's a big fan of Bob Blair. I don't think I personally have ever purchased one.
Yeah. No,
but my brother's got a lineup and he's like, try this one.
Yeah. There's some really good. There's some amazing expressions from
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got some good stuff. You know, there's a whiskey Scotch bar I used to go to in Washington, D.C. when I lived there. It's called Jack Rose. And in Jack Rose, it's almost like a library, right? Nice. It's like the whole place is maybe like the ceilings are maybe like 20 feet tall, all around, all like mahogany wood shelves.
Nice.
With this ladder.
I love that.
And they keep the lights dim, and they bring like this entire book with like you start looking for whatever you want in there, and they have them numbered like in a sequence from like 1 to like 3,000 or whatever. And so when you order something, you got to give them a specific number so they can actually move the ladder and go up there and grab the bottle. And then they'll sit the bottle right there until you're done with it. That's nice. Unless somebody else asks for it, Yeah. And in New York, there's a place called the Brandy Library. That place is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So if you guys find yourselves, anybody watching, or even you guys, in DC, Jack Rose. In New York, the Brandy Library.
Yeah.
And you will not be disappointed.
Do you have any recommendations for Boston? Because I'm finding myself there at the end of the summer.
I did go one time to a place, and I don't even remember because I was so jacked up from drinking. I couldn't even, but I'll take that as a takeaway because I have some folks that were there that can tell me exactly where we were.
Yeah.
So this spot right here was like a little dungeon. Like you're walking down the street and they got like all these, architectural old buildings like brownstone. And one of them is like a Scotch cigar bar, but you walk down like easy, like half few stairs down, and there's like a dungeon in there, like couches everywhere, freaking whatever Scotch you could think of, and a huge humidor.
That's cool.
And it's like all in a bunker, and it was so cool. It's so cool. I may have a picture, but I gotta dig back. Maybe
I'll find it. Scotch and cigar bunker.
Yeah, Before I go, I'll check my pictures because I may have one from that trip to Boston.
Yeah. For the longest time, Boston had some crazy stuff, like just sitting on shelves, like Springbank, like old, old Springbanks, like crazy stuff. And we were like, and I believe they don't ship out of state, right? They don't ship out of Massachusetts, I believe.
I don't know the answer.
Don't want you out of state.
So Paulo and I used to look at like the different stores, and they have like usually a list online, and you see like Springbanks from like the early 2000s sitting on shelves, 6 bottles. I'm like, if that was anywhere else, it would be rated.
You guys remember that one YouTube guy, the Whiskey Hunter? I think his name was
Whiskey Hunter. The Whiskey Hunter.
Hound, maybe?
Whiskey. No, not Whiskey Hound.
There's a Whiskey Hunter now, but he's the drummer from the band The Trues.
No. Maybe it's not Whiskey Hunter. Anyway, I think he was in California, and this was a long time ago, but he was like finding old dusties.
Oh, I know what you're talking
And
about.
he did one video where he had like a camera in his sunglasses, and it was like the point of view of like a whiskey hunter, and he like go in and like
Yes.
undercover, so to speak.
I remember that
and
guy.
find
He was
bottles.
a little shady, that guy.
Yeah.
From what I remember. He was a little like sleazy. A little bit.
He runs a Facebook group.
Yeah, it's the Single Malt Society. Or
No, it's not that.
Single Malt something. Yeah, it's that big one. Like the 40,000 people.
He's a huge Facebook group.
Yeah. Yeah, he started a YouTube channel for a little bit. It had very small following.
I never see
Peter
that-
White will know.
I never see
If
that
he's still in the
YouTube-
chat, Peter White will know his
I
name.
never see that Facebook group anymore. I think maybe I got banned and didn't even know.
Yeah, no, he.
I
like
you
to.
probably got us banned.
I probably got us.
You
banned.
got us banned from every single Facebook.
I got
group
myself
there is.
banned. Some
and me.
well, probably you too.
Because
I'm surprised
I,
you didn't
added
get kicked
you.
out of Toronto Whiskey Society because of me.
It's coming.
No, I've made amends.
It's coming.
I've made amends with most of those
It's coming.
Let me see if I can get my brother live real quick.
guys.
Oh yeah, bring him in.
Yeah.
What up, bad boy?
What's up, dude?
You're live, my friend. You are
Yo, why
live.
don't we
What's
send
going
him
on, buddy?
a link onto here?
We should just send him a
What's
link.
going on?
He looks like he's chilling.
Go ahead and put your Walmart glasses on,
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah.
You want to come on YouTube right now?
Bro, you're not watching the live feed?
I was writing 30 minutes prior to you guys popping up. You guys didn't read my message?
Yeah,
Well, we
no,
did.
We did saw it.
But
We
that's
saw
not
it.
the question was, are you watching the live feed?
No, I'm not. I didn't get any messages back.
Well, we've been going at it for a good half an hour here.
That's what happens when you're half an hour late.
Yeah,
We were late. It was our fault. It was my fault, really.
Yeah, bro, the amount of stuff that we're trying here is retarded, man.
I bet.
Oh my god. Anyway, just thought I called you because I didn't see much interaction there, so I figure I don't know if you're actually watching or not.
Yeah, get on there, bud.
Come, we'll send you a link if you want.
Oh, well, but what happened to what I wrote earlier?
We read it to the group. No, we read it.
We
We
read
read it. We read it to everybody that was.
Yeah, we told them about your recent arrest and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Peter White figure out who we were talking about? Look at no, I wasn't looking.
Yeah. All right, bro. Hop on. Couch potato.
He didn't know. He didn't know.
All right. I when you do that, Jeremy, I am so conflicted, right? Like I am very conflicted because the iron is actually extremely good. And the Spain malt is in my mind better. I wish it didn't have the strength that it's got, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
But even with that, I find it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just the sherry's so pronounced on this one, and I'm a big sherry guy.
No, it's crazy.
It's hard to match though. Is you'll get some competitors that'll go like neck to neck with it, but I think it'll make a strong case.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's delicious.
I think it makes it really strong, especially after it's been sitting after 20 minutes when it's actually had a chance to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what else I can pull down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the legs.
This thing is just liquid crack.
Pass me one of those Kilkerrans.
Which one?
Give me the bourbon one. Yeah.
Oh, have you tried that Benaramic single cask?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
It's delicious.
So these are the new
And
Kilkerrans
that
that came
hazelnut's
out.
delicious as well.
Oof.
One bourbon, one sherry, right?
One bourbon, one sherry. They're both good.
And you've had about a baby pour out of this?
Baby pour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only drink on special occasions or when Jeremy comes for the whiskey night.
Do you not shy away from like the lighter color ones?
No.
So
he doesn't. I got to be honest. I do more often than he does. But
right,
he doesn't.
and well, that's where I was going. Right, I think there's a certain attraction for me to the darker tone right, spirits versus the non-ones, because the other ones just kind of give me like a notion of like that shit is probably loaded with peat to the point you can't even like really drink it. Is what I'm thinking right away.
That one's super peated for sure.
I mean, on the nose, it's very well integrated.
Oh no, like it's not like I wouldn't say it's unbalanced.
Right.
It's excellent, but it's just it's heavier on the peat side, for sure. You will get way more peat. I notice anyway. I get way more peat out of a bourbon aged whiskey than I will out of a sherry aged
I think
whiskey.
we go through phases, right? Like sometimes we just drink sherry stuff for like a year.
For a while.
I think that's fair
Right.
because I go through the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's fair because I do have some peated stuff. Like, for instance, I don't know. I think you might have had. I think you might have reviewed it. You have that the Offerman edition.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, but that's not
That's
the.
the Chardo.
That's the Chardo. I have the Guinness.
Guinness one.
Yeah,
That one's good.
and it is like very good, but I have to pick my spots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It's not an everyday pour.
Right, exactly. So in my mind, I'm thinking like I want to swing at it.
Yeah.
Right, but I gotta be like selective on that swing.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally. I totally get that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know. Like, I can't speak for everyone, but I think in the whiskey community, there's been more of a push for ex-bourbon matured stuff recently. Maybe because the ex-bourbon barrels are honestly better than the sherried seasoned stuff that you're getting right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like some guys are still doing it great.
There's way more risk of getting a terrible whiskey when you go for a sherry whiskey as opposed to a bourbon cask.
Sure. Like if you look at like all the sherry casks made for Scotch in the world and all the ex-bourbon casks made for Scotch in the world, and you took an average of both and said, what one's the more quality barrel? It might be the ex-bourbons at this point in time.
The best of the best will probably be in the sherry category, but the worst will also be in the sherry category.
Right.
Right? Because you can get those like really skunky, like
Heavily
ammonia
sulfur,
or sulfur sherry like aged whiskeys.
Yeah.
And then you can get in bourbon, there's not really too much room for error. You know what I mean? Like
I think that's true,
maybe it's a little too hot. Maybe it's not like, the best tasting overall, but you're never going to have something that's like off-putting, like gross.
Yeah. It's funny because for me, like the bourbon has been more of an acquired taste over the years than for me to take on the Scotch, and I don't know why. And maybe my brother calls it tastes like plastic. I never eaten plastic, so I don't know. But what I know what he's saying. I'm more on the side of like it's just to me, bourbons almost all of them have like a base that gives you almost like the same ending in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard because when you find a really good one, like I was looking when you were gone, Jimmy and I were talking about the Michter's, right?
Yeah.
Love it. It's one of my top 3 bourbons. And then we got into the Jefferson's Ocean Age versus one that I just have this matured in Cabernet cask, right? Does not Ocean Age.
Right.
And it's probably the best bourbon I've had to this day. I've had a good 50, 60 of them.
Right.
So it's very difficult because one day I could come in and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I love this shit. And be like, oh, when you just post something like this, I'm like, okay, well, I thought I was good, but no.
Yeah. Where's Ralphie?
Yeah,
your brother
wants to
just
know where Ralphie is.
We need you here.
We're not
That's
cutting
right.
it. We're not cutting it yet.
Yeah.
Next time when he comes, if all 4 of us are on set, we're gonna set up multiple cameras. There's multiple angles.
Oh boy.
Man, no, Ralphie is not ready for you guys. Trust me on that. You would blow his top right off.
No. See, the thing is that like I have a lot of respect, right, for his longevity, his knowledge, and everything, all the transfer of knowledge he gives us, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, like I was saying earlier, it was some of my own growing up needed to happen, right, to understand some of his delivery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's
it was really on me. It wasn't on him because he hasn't changed,
Yeah. It was nice getting to talk to Ralphie and like getting to know him on like a little bit more of a personal level.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people get that opportunity. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, we actually might be the only ones that got that opportunity, other than other than Roy Aquavite.
Yeah, I mean we've had Ralphie on the podcast twice, and shot the shit with him for
And again,
3-4
scheduled for this
hours
October.
every time. Oh, you scheduled him for October?
For this October, he's going to be hitting his 100th review.
Oh,
So he
what? Wait a
So
minute.
he wants to advertise
100 or 1,000?
1,000.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, I thought I've done seen like over 300.
This is the brain can't keep up with the alcohol. Yeah, sorry, 1,000th review, and he wanted to kind of like advertise that. So he's going to be coming on the rant again in October to talk about that. Well, that's what he timed it for. He said it might come a little earlier, it might come a little later. So
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's always like so cool to talk to him, right? Because like he was a guy around, in the 80s buying scotch when you could just go up and buy like a Brora off the shelf. You buy it at a Springbank, and that
was crazy.
You just go to a store and buy like just the most epic stuff now,
Right? And, like people like us, right, that truly enjoy this stuff, and in a lot of ways do it out of your own time and money.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like I feel jelly in a way that I didn't grow up in, like, in the UK where I could probably drive places where I could grab stuff that no one else could get their hands on.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
And just the knowledge of being there and like learning from these master distillers that would have no problem just talking to us.
Right.
But we just don't have that opportunity because we're not there.
Right.
You know?
Well, I'll be showing up. You want me to take out the garbage?
Yeah, right.
I just want to be around here,
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I don't know about you guys, but my evolution with whiskey started as more polarizing than as I evolved and realized like there's a time for everything. There's a place for everything. I don't have to hate anything one day and then, I'm never going to love this one whiskey and have to like, that was earlier on in my, like earlier on I found the whiskey I loved, I had to have 6 bottles of that. And that's all I was drinking for 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And it was more like, so I would go on to YouTube and Ralphie would say, no, you know what? That's okay. It's not great. And I'd be like, what? Like I was so angry.
I mean, that's the thing, but I'll give you another example. Like just like this, and this is an argument I'll make every time. So let's say you spend $100 on one of these, right?
Yeah.
And so this bottle, I will venture to say you probably had it over 3 months.
That one more than This is a bottle split too. I only took half of this bottle.
All right. So let's say you had a brand new, right? Let's say you paid $200 for it.
Yeah. All
right. You had it for easy 6 months now, right? Now, let me make the flip side of the argument. Wine. Okay? You can get a really nice, and I'm getting really heavily into wines now. And so when you start getting the bourbon cask, and now you start getting all the other different things that you're getting, and you're like, wow, wait a minute. Why am I paying $100 for that bottle when I just found this one for $25 and it's freaking excellent?
Yeah.
Right? And so so you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to control.
No, you're not.
But what I'm going with this is that I will argue every time that the wine, let's say aficionado probably spends a lot more money than we do in Scotch, because a bottle of wine will go on a sitting with 2 people, a couple of glasses each, done. Bottle's gone.
Okay.
You don't go through one of these in months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I've had that argument with people as well. They're like, well, you buy all this whiskey and it's higher in ABV and all these other things, and you're probably spending all kinds of money. How many bottles of wine do you go through a week? Yeah. And they'll be like, one a night my wife and I will have. Okay, so that's 7 days. Right. You went through 7 bottles, your $200 that you spent that week, that lasts me almost a year.
Yeah,
probably.
sure.
You know what I mean?
You can drink one of these bottles 20 times.
That's right.
Right? You can do 20 pours.
That's it. Yeah, more.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. So I guess where I'm going with this is that the fact is that just like you started, right? Yeah. It was like more of a, hey, let me just get a taste of this. And then you develop more of an appreciation and taste to it.
Yep.
It's the same with like everything else. Like, like wines, at first my wife would start drinking like Moscatos. I'm like, that shit is sweet.
Yeah.
I don't want to taste that. And then you go to like the white ones and it's like, oh, that shit gives me a headache. So it's like, but then when you arrive is when you start hitting the ones that actually mean something. Like Merlots are kind of like middle of the road for me. I always want a heavy cab.
Yeah.
Something that will just like give you the goosebumps type shit. You know?
Yep.
where you drink and you're like, oh man, I need a raw piece of steak. Like I don't want if it moves, even better.
It's true. Nothing goes better with wine than meat, like a nice steak.
You feel like a Viking almost, right? Like you just kill a moose and then just get some, from a jar, pour something that looks like wine. Could be the blood you're drinking, but.
So your brother was saying that his parole officer was calling him, and that's probably the reason why he couldn't join us. Is he's got the ankle bracelet on and can't get out of his own house.
Yeah, they cut his internet after like 8 p.m. or something. They want to make sure he's not plotting some shit,
He wants to know how the Anok 24 is. Should we? Your brother?
He did.
Yes. How is the Anok 24? We should let him know.
Good Lord.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite bottles for sure. You gotta take a little sip of that.
I'm gonna grab some glasses for
that's a really good one. And you know what? Priced pretty well for the time. I'm not sure what they go for now, but you were paying like what, under 200 for them?
Those were like 160 ish,
like
180 max.
Oh, this one's legit.
Oh, these are our blind tasting glasses.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
I like that.
Yeah, so let's do some Anok 24.
Oh boy.
There's some secret code that we don't know, whatever that means.
Oh, that's the Spanish way of saying ha 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 ha.
Well, in Spanish, the J is pronounced like H.
An H, yeah. You didn't know that?
I was supposed to know that shit.
Your sister-in-law is Spanish.
That's true.
You should know that. And isn't she from the U.S. as well?
No, she's from Colombia.
By the way, for those that are followers of the channel, not mine, Whiskey in the Six, there'll be a different rendition of that. Pete Lovers moved to Toronto, and then we'll have a channel on like tasting weed.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, in Florida, it's still illegal, right?
It is medically allowed.
Okay, so if
but
you have a
not,
card,
not recreational.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, here you can. I mean, so I have a guy, my friend, who lives 4 doors down, who owns a dispensary.
Okay.
And I don't really smoke much, but if you would like some for this week,
oh well, I always come prepared, but I always like to taste the crop in different
I'll hook you up before we leave.
in different places.
I got you.
And then remember, I'm also from here. I'm going to Vegas, so Vegas is.
True. But you can't take it. I mean,
I don't like carrying things from border to border.
Yeah, you don't need to
because
though, right?
I don't really need to.
Yeah, you don't need
Right.
to.
But
We don't need another year and a half hiatus from the Pete Lovers.
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
I know.
Well, I gotta stay legal, and so I can't. I mean, they done messed up. The U.S. actually allowed me to get a citizenship, so now they can't get rid of me. They done messed up. But all jokes aside, in Vegas is like New York now. Like New York is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with whatever they're doing to try to legalize some of these things. I just would like better control. Like if you go in New York, I don't know. I haven't smelled it here in Toronto like I smell in New York. You walk down New York City, Manhattan.
Gross, right?
Bro, everybody's smoking. I mean, and you got kids. I mean, families with children and walking around with their kids. It's like, you don't want the kids smelling that stuff. Like, so
It's
legalize it, but
true.
then limit it to where you can't be in public doing it.
Right.
But, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I think it's on the consumer to be respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true though. I went to a concert last weekend. I actually went to 2 concerts back-to-back weekends in Toronto, but last weekend I went at the Rogers Center, sold out Rogers Center, and I only smelt it walking in like once, which I found was kind of weird because it's a concert. You used to smell it more when it was illegal
My take,
in a concert.
I get that. Yeah, that's true.
Well, here's the thing. They have so many things for you to be discreet about it. Why would you want not to be discreet with it?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
You know what? Like, if they're gonna give us, the ability to if there's like drinking in public or smoking in public or whatever, show some restraint and
Yeah.
show some respect,
Yeah.
or else they're just going to take it away.
Of
And now
course,
you're going
of
to be in a fucking place where you can't do that anymore, and then it's going to be terrible, right?
Well, I'm just as I'm thinking and we're talking it through, the channel will be probably named Smoking in the Six.
So there's Canadian YouTubers, Trenny and C. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're from Vancouver,
Mhm.
and Trenny branched out into the weed thing, and he was doing really well.
Mhm.
And then I don't know what happened; he just stopped.
Oh, really?
But
Interesting.
have you tried that? No,
Not yet.
My
'Cause I'm letting
goodness.
it breathe a little bit.
This has been open for a long time, so you don't have to let it breathe too much. But
Mhm.
it's delicious.
You're going to have a big shopping list after you leave here tonight.
This is
Well, I
the-
got to get that. I got to get that. That Aaron was great. That I knocked. Got to get one of those.
I'm just gonna get home and be like, these guys ruined
You're
me.
going to be, yeah.
They just ruined me.
I don't want your date tomorrow to not go so well. So.
And Whiskey
Oh,
exchange,
trust me.
credit card bills coming
Bro,
in soon.
when I'm
It's gonna
saying
be
I
a lot.
hydrated for today, I have because I know I have a long week, so I'm hydrating as I'm going.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Because is the next between tomorrow and the next 2 days in Vegas is gonna be like, okay, well, and I got a lot of friends over there too from the industry, so it's kind of like, oh, the people just waiting. Yo, look up.
Friends in Vegas is bad news.
Right, yeah.
Because Vegas is bad news already as it is.
I got a buddy of mine that used to live in Orlando, lives in Vegas full time, and then I have at least 4 of my good friends from the industry that I worked with for the last 10 years in different capacities. They're there because they're setting up for the event over there.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting, right? Because tomorrow, with everything we got going on, I'm going to try not to drink, but that's nearly impossible.
Right.
I drank 2 beers today, is what I drank.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lying. I had 1 for lunch. I had 1 for lunch, and then I had like 2 more on a little gathering with some folks. But
There's social events, and what goes better with a social event than a nice cocktail or a beer? Or
well,
right?
I lied again. I did have an Oban 14.
There you go. See?
I was in the Intercon.
So you never do a tally. Never do a.
No, you never- you gotta
don't-
just
don't
forget.
invoice yourself.
I lied again.
You only-
They're gonna keep going.
You only drank as much as the ones you remember.
Wow, the nose is
So
phenomenal.
if you remember nothing, then you've been sober for
You were
years.
saying- exactly.
The nose is fantastic on this.
Right?
Oh yeah, my God. I can't say that there's something else like it though.
So the 18 is honestly, I feel like their money zone. The knock 18. This is a little more sherry than the 18, but I do feel like the 18 is a little better.
No.
Bro, this
You
thing
don't
is
think
almost,
so? You don't think this?
Do knock 18 is better than this or not?
I think so.
You're crazy.
Am I?
That's a crazy thing to say.
well, this thing is almost a quarter cent.
I like the spiciness of the 18.
That's a crazy thing to say. The knock 18 is good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great. But like, this is the best in knock.
It's very good. No, it's not the best in knock. I let you try the 1975, didn't I?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's different.
That was nuts.
That was a little different.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
I wish I still had that bottle.
Regrets.
Yeah.
Actually, for a 46, the alcohol is more pronounced than this guy right here.
Oh, you
I
think
feel
so?
so.
Yeah, it's more spicy.
I feel it that way. I don't know. Maybe it just mellowed out because it set out a little longer.
Could have.
But what I do like about it though is the distribution of it. Like when you drink it, right, kind of just
Yeah,
just
you're
kind
right.
of just goes everywhere, and it's like you're getting a taste of everything.
It does have a spice, like a good amount of spice for a 24-year-old. Like it probably should have been more mellow than that. Maybe that's why I like the 18 a little better.
But it's really phenomenal. The
There's a-
nose is
There's the question.
Oh,
Aaron
okay.
18 or a knock 24? I'm gonna say for me on the nose, it's actually the Aaron on the nose, but on the palate is the knock for sure.
I
I actually like the Aaron on the nose or the knock on the nose.
yeah, I was
a
just
lot.
gonna say for me it's a little bit different because I feel that although this is really good on the nose, this one is giving me some like plum notes that I wasn't getting on that one.
It's definitely sweeter on the nose. Like it's
Well, I guess that's
so-
what I'm trying to say is a little
yeah.
bit sweeter, but the nose on the around is freaking phenomenal
Oh,
too.
it's
I mean,
beautiful too. Yeah.
it's not that I can't even compare because they're both different.
Yeah.
You know? Good Lord.
Yeah, Peter White said it's an Enoch 39-year-old at 1975.
Okay, well, yes.
I think he might still have a bottle. We should figure out what it's going to take to get that
Double the age of the
Enoch 75 from Peter White.
Ooh. Yeah.
Mm.
You can buy my George T. Stagg and then trade it to him for the Enoch.
Yeah, I don't have George T. Stagg money. You crazy?
But Peter White would do it for George T. Stagg, don't you think?
I don't think so.
For 2017?
No, he knows that the Enoch is better.
Peter, would you do a 2017 George T. Stagg for the Enoch 39?
We got a live trade going on here.
Yeah, there's
Something going on here.
Someone else is gonna offer something else, or turn it into an auction. Have two GTSs.
Yeah, I know you have two. You have probably more than that, but you need a third, right?
Someone's at the window.
That's creepy.
It's my wife, maybe. I don't know. One sec, guys. You guys continue this conversation.
Another special guest is coming in.
Yeah, unannounced. It's the fish Dory right here in the fish tank. No, so talk to me, Jeremy. So today, out of all the ones you've had here, how would you say this one falls in line? That Springbank.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. The new Springbank local barley, right? The local barley series has always been a favorite of mine.
I've never seen it before, by the way.
Yeah, this one is different. I'm getting more barbecue on this, which I don't normally get from Springbank that often, if ever, really. But yeah, I'm digging it. I really am digging this one. It fits in line for me. Is it my favorite local barley I've tried recently? I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe it's just the first pour. But the ones that stand out, I mean, they came out when they started doing like this line. I think they re-released local barley a couple years ago. They came with a 16-year-old, which was one of my favorite Springbanks of all time.
Really?
16-year-old local barley was phenomenal. It was so nice. So that's still taking the top spot for me.
So why do they call it local barley? Like, is it because this is a full-on interview now? That I want Jeremy to drop the knowledge on me.
Yeah, no, it's just locally sourced.
Because I mean, you wouldn't say that these are not locally sourced. What they're doing with these,
right? So
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is like specifically region specific. Right, it's Campbelltown farm.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Whereas like the barley from the regular stuff would be sourced from wherever else in Scotland.
Right.
You're good. You're good.
You good?
Yeah. Same like Brookloudie does the same thing, right? Like their Octomore, 0.3s are the local barley. Like it's the Isla barley, the stuff from there. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of like local stuff and things that they do, have you guys ever had something called
You guys want any snacks?
Lark? Is from Tasmania, Australia.
Lark.
We had that? No.
I don't think so.
Well, let me tell you, bro, get it on the list
Yeah.
because a friend of mine,
That's good.
I bought a box a long time ago, and he gave me one, and it's probably one of the best scotches I've ever drank in my life.
No way.
Really?
And you can't even get your hands on that shit. It's just they don't distribute it outside of Australia, and it's called Lark, just like the bird, right? Check it out. It's unbelievable. I look at least once a month to see if something just surfaced.
No way.
I think I might have done a review. I don't know if I did it with my brother. I did a solo on it. And the thing is, like, it had like apricot, like after
This
like
is Australian whiskey.
Oh man, yeah, from the Tasmanian area of like Australia.
Peter was a big fan of Australian whiskey.
No way.
Big fan.
So Lark is phenomenal. That's something I've never had before. Bobby, so you have a beer in there?
Oh. I hope so.
Now wash the palate.
Yeah.
I'll wash it down with beer. Me and my brother do beer.
Why don't your brother's asking you to wash it down with Johnny Walker Red? Trust me, man, that doesn't exist at this bar.
Yeah.
There's no Johnny Walker Red
Let me
here.
tell you, we go back when we really want to have a good laugh. We go back to the Johnny Walker Red review we did, and we go back to the review we did on the Aberfeldy.
Yeah.
We did, we did an Aberfeldy 12.
That's an old one.
Yeah, the really, really old one.
Yeah.
And I remember, I never forget because I have braces and I had like this thing on the top of my mouth that I could barely speak. You know what I mean? And like even my pronunciation sounded like I had like a turd in my mouth. And I laugh at myself, but I laugh at how much we laughed because it was me and my brother like excited to taste the Haberfeldy. It's like, oh, you know, his doors is venturing off, you know, and we start drinking and like we're tasting, we're both looking at each other, we start dying laughing like this is trash, guys, don't buy this shit. You never seen that video?
Yeah, I have seen
it's
that
an
one.
old one, a really old one.
I feel like I've seen like 90% of your stuff. I feel.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, we've done a lot of videos, man. You guys done probably more by this point because I think we were close to we're definitely over 200, I think.
Because like you guys put me on to Yamazaki. That was the very first review I've ever seen of that before, right? You had the 18. You were buying it for like crazy cheap.
Right. My brother was why it's all questionable now. Like I don't even know if he really bought it if he walked it out. You know what I mean? Like so it's all questionable. But all that aside, really like when he first introduced me to that one, he was like, "Oh, you gotta taste this Japanese
whiskey selection is good. Beer selection, not so much.
That's gross. Don't drink that.
What is this thing?
Don't drink that shit.
I have.
You want a palate cleanser? That thing will hurt you.
Well, I did say somebody throw me some poison.
It's a Stiegel.
Don't worry about it, bro.
A Stiegel grapefruit Radler. I don't
It's
know.
not that bad. It's like
you got like a plastic cup?
I don't think you want to drink
Yeah,
that.
no, I'll just drink it out.
Stiegel grapefruit Radler as a
Like
palate
a
cleanser.
throwaway
Maybe
cup
it
or something?
is. It is a low. It's a low ABV.
No, bro. Some of you don't have to wash.
You know what? I used to be really into big to Toronto craft beer. Like the craft beer scene in Toronto, like 5 to 10 years ago, was huge. It was like amazing, like award-winning craft beer coming out of the city. But now it's just like the quality's gone down. It's like it's not that good anymore, man.
Really?
I don't drink craft beer anymore. I know Florida's got a lot of really good craft beer breweries.
Yeah, so Florida does. But what I found is I travel a lot to Cincinnati to do work, and there's a lot of good breweries up there.
Yeah.
There's a big community and influence of German people there too that I did not know.
Okay.
So I guess they do like the second largest Oktoberfest festival of the entire world,
really?
compared to the one in Germany.
Yeah.
I just learned this like just last year. So definitely this year when it comes around, I'm not missing it. You know.
And you said you used to live in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. So I was right outside of the D.C. in the kind of like the Tri area.
I would think the craft beer would be big there too.
Honestly, there were some. There were some good ones. But I can tell you that I've been the most impressed with the Cincinnati brewing presses. Florida's got a lot. There's one brewery that we go to there called Three Daughters. Is the largest family-owned brewery in the state of Florida, and it so happens to be like half a mile away from the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium.
Okay.
So I go with my sons to watch, let's say, a Tampa Bay's game, but we'll go to Three Daughters first, get lit up in there, walk to the stadium, and catch a game, and then come back to the brewery, drink some more, and then drive home.
Is that stadium as bad as they say it is? Is it trash in there?
It's a dump, and well, depending on where you go, right? Because they've done, I think, a very good job now of creating a better fan experience.
Okay.
And now they put a great product on the field, so there's a lot of things to
They have
overlook.
a great team, yeah.
It's a lot of things to overlook now.
Yeah.
Let's just say the least, right? But I don't have a problem going to the Trop.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's all enclosed. It doesn't open up like Rogers Center or like the Marlins Stadium and some others that are retractable roof. Is that rain?
That's my wife taking a shower.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, it's pouring outside. And so that's what happens is that you go in there and the air condition. I mean, the whole setup there to me is grown on me over the years, where I always used to look, because I've been to 25 stadiums between me and my brother, and so we've been to I've done.
What are some of the best?
Well, surprisingly enough, you would think that the new ones are. For us, I mean, at least for me, the old school ones are the best ones.
Fenway,
Wrigley,
Yeah.
Kaufman Field in Kansas City. LA Dodgers, that sort of stuff. That it's just got this character that you can't explain until you actually walk in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wow, this is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys are Dominican, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So big baseball culture.
Oh, big, huge.
Was David Ortiz, was he like the big guy that made you like Boston Red Sox fans?
No, actually, no. It was Pedro Martinez.
Yeah. Okay.
So actually, I was a big. Me and my brother were big Expo fans growing up in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Because you have Black
Vladdy,
Guerrero dad,
Vladdy,
and then they brought Pedro Martinez, and then they had his brother Ramon.
But our championship teams had a good amount of Dominicans, no?
The Jays, 1993.
Well, you have Pedro Guerrero. No, you had sorry.
What was his name?
You have
Was Alomar Dominican?
no, he's Puerto Rican.
Oh, he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, and then but look, every single team that wins championships has a big combination of all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what's so powerful about it. You could put a great group of Dominican guys play together, and they all be very talented, but they don't know how to win together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's the same for anything you put together. But growing up as a kid, the Expos were like one of my favorite teams growing up. You know, like I love the Expos. I mean, I never forget like Tim Wallach was third base. Back then you had Gary Carter behind the plate, and then you had the big unit was on that team.
Yeah.
And you have Marquise Grissom, Black Guerrero. I mean,
it's a shame that they lost their
good
team because I love the Expos as well. I mean, obviously we were Jays fans, but
there's rumor that no, that's not baseball. What am I thinking of? That Quebec team's coming back.
What, hockey?
Yeah, my brother was at Moises
Maybe
Alou. Moises Alou was from the Expos too.
Yeah.
Well, Moises. Well, his father was the manager. No, well, I'm getting it wrong. I think
George Brown.
Felipe was the dad. Felipe Alou was the manager, and Moises Alou was the player when that was going on back then.
Yeah, old baseball knowledge, man.
Is that as bad as Jeremy said it is?
Wow, this smells straight up like grapefruit.
Does it?
Yeah, it's almost like a sour. Is it a sour?
It's not. I don't think it's sour.
It's called like a Radler. It's
a Radler. Yeah, it's like grapefruit infused.
I don't know that I consider this a beer. In my mind.
No, it's not a beer.
Listen, I actually drank my last 4 beers.
I advised against this.
I'm not a beer guy.
I don't blame you.
As you can tell. But
I'm in Florida. I drink beer because it's so damn hot.
Yeah, and it's in the summer. I do enjoy a beer, so I will buy it. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you.
Occasionally, but yeah, I should have bought it tonight. Now I have regrets.
Oh no, bro, none of that.
But like honestly, why are you going to beer when there's this?
That's just like
because I had this spicy thing, and I wanted to wash it down with something that wasn't water.
Yeah,
and this was not going to make it better.
Do you like spicy? Not you don't.
Oh no,
like
I do.
Yeah.
But when you're sipping on this and then you introduce spiciness to your taste buds,
it kind of takes
it takes a lot of this away.
Yeah, these are not spicy. Those nuts. I don't know if you're allergic or anything.
So
no.
So what are you gonna say? You got a favorite?
Right now, so I'm intrigued now based on what you told me about this guy.
Yeah.
So
have you tried this one yet?
Not yet, and I haven't tried this.
You gotta try this.
I haven't tried this one either. But okay, if I had to tell you right now that between this guy, and this guy right here, I am so conflicted, right? Because they all bring something different to the table. I think this one, to me, it's got the best nose.
Yeah, that's a great nose.
Right? This one right here goes down the smoothest.
That's very smooth, yeah.
And this one right here has got a spiciness that these two are lacking.
It's got more balance. This has got the most balance. Like it's got some lots of different flavors going on.
Right. And the fact that it is not as strong on the alcohol as this one, it puts me between the two, but I'm still kind of like leaning on that one. Like I don't know. It's just me is really good.
I'm not surprised by that because
for those of you that don't know, this is a Macallan 19-year-old, basically cast strength, bottled by Gordon MacPhail.
Because Macallan is that's your bread and butter. Like that's what you love the most.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
So as Richard, the owner of Macallan, likes to say they don't buy their casks; they fill their casks.
The
And
owner
then-
of Gordon McPhail.
Gordon McPhail.
Yeah.
What did I say?
McAllen.
The liquor's kicking in, boys.
It's here. It's here, boys.
You gotta practice drinking more. You've been under practice.
I've been out of practice.
Been under practice.
I've been out of practice. So Gordon McPhail will take casks that they've chosen, barrels, empty barrels,
Sure.
from wineries that they get their sherry from, or bourbon companies that they get their bourbon barrels from. And
Well,
they,
Diageo is known for this too. Diageo.
yeah.
They're known for buying all kinds of stuff like that and putting shit in it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but they'll actually take the cask and go fill it at the distillery
Mhm.
and then bring it back. So they don't allow the distillery to influence their product because they're
Sure.
getting their own sherry
Of
cask,
course.
their own bourbon cask, their own port, or whatever they decide to use, which is
So what,
pretty
do you,
cool.
so what do you think happens? Do you think they're like paying some sort of like licensing fee back to Macallan?
I wonder. I mean,
Whereas they got Macallan on the bottle.
Yeah.
So Gordon McPhail, from what Richard has told us, is that they do have written contracts with some distilleries to buy their spirit.
Yeah.
They have some just handshake agreements,
Yeah.
right? Like nothing on paper, just like we've been doing business with you forever.
Right.
and not
Um,
as many as they used to
And
have.
some are disappearing, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of distilleries are like, we're keeping all of our stuff, we're balling all of our stuff for ourselves.
That's
we're not
right.
going to sell any spirits
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's happening a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So that's why they've branched out.
Have you ever seen a independent bottle called Battle Hill?
No.
No.
So I think my brother and I did a review on a Battle Hill, and I could get these all the time. So there's a place in the U.S., not just to Florida, but because I've seen them in other places in the U.S. It's called Total Wine. Have you
Yep.
heard of it?
Yeah, we've been there before.
So Total Wine has this line of a couple, maybe 3 independent bottles. Like Gordon McPhail's one of them that they have on the shelf, but then they have Battle Hill. And so we got, I want to say it was a Bunnahabhain 6-year-old, which you'll never get that on the shelf from Bunnahabhain.
Right.
I think Bunnahabhain bottles are 12 and above.
Right.
You know, and it was heavily peated, which you don't get that either on a Bunnahabhain. You don't get a. Well, there was one expression that came out not too long ago that's heavily peated.
Right.
And so that right there was like amazing, right? And then I think we got something else. I think I wanted to say it was like it was a 9-year-old. I'm drawing a blank on what the other one was. Anyway, well, Battle Hill's another independent bottle, and so I'm gonna go check out, see what I could dig up or whatever. The next trip I come, I'm not coming empty-handed, right? Because I think it's warranted. There was one thing that I wanted to do, and time just didn't allow for it this trip. And honestly, to my own critic, to myself, I didn't put that much effort to it because I had so much shit going on last week that I just didn't really plan it right.
Yeah.
But there's one that we talked about last time. I think you might have been part of this conversation the last time we did a review where we got to talk about like Pedro Jimenez and like sherry stuff. And I said, hey, there's some bourbon made by Rabbit Hole. I don't think if he's coming back to you now.
Yeah.
And that's it's called Derringer.
Yes.
And it's Pedro Jimenez and sherry matured that is off the freaking charts. You know?
I would like to try that. Yeah.
It's like that dark, like the Spain malt. And
Nice.
when you pour it, it feels like it's really thick going into the glass.
Have you been reaching more towards finished bourbons? Because like Joseph Magnus is like my favorite
Mhm.
stuff. They do all the like finished, like they do, sherry finished, like Cabernet Sauvignon cask finished, like all that stuff. They do it amazing. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
You reaching more towards those nowadays?
I honestly, like now that you mentioned it, I like really didn't give it any thought, right? I just grabbed based on taste, the things that I've tasted or things that I kind of someone might have said, hey, this is great. Or maybe we had a drink with somebody, I was like, that thing was really good. Maybe I should just get a bottle. Where now I find myself really, if it's got bourbon or ex-bourbon, I'm okay with grabbing one right away because I know I'm going to get some sort of either vanilla toffee notes and some spices with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm completely fine with getting that because I know it's going to satisfy some of the things that I like.
Right.
How many bourbons would you say are like in your collection?
I would say right now I have about maybe 5.
So very low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 5.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wouldn't get any more, but I'm very selective, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to bourbons, because there's so many. Because you start looking at like Maker's Marks and this and Woodford Reserves and all these other ones, and although they're probably good to some folks, to me is like just another bourbon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I like to get something more like that Derringer that's out of their element.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Right, like that Cabernet Cask matures out of their element. You know what I mean? Is you don't find too many of those bourbons like when you got that type of like maturation.
Yeah.
Like we've
true.
always said, like the basic bourbon is the same 5 notes, right?
Yeah.
Vanilla, caramel, cherry, oak, and
Maybe toffee,
brown
Brown
sugar, or toffee, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like those are the 5 notes you get in a lot of bourbons, right?
Yeah.
They're all kind of like variations of that.
Mhm.
So like it's not like the Scotch whiskey world where it's like everything is so crazy different.
Yeah. Like, how many sherry whiskeys do we have on this table right now? And how many of them taste the same? None.
No.
Right? None of them taste alike.
Right, exactly, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like we talked about it earlier. It's like you get some of these knockoffs, or like somebody that let's say probably bought from Gordon MacPhail something that they filled 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And now they want to go throw something else and think it's going to be great. So you get some diluted flavor profile that really doesn't satisfy your refined taste.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now at this point, whether you like it or not, your taste is refined. You've tasted enough now
Yeah,
that it's like, okay, I know how to weed them out.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not gonna settle for the stuff that you used to like when you first started drinking whiskey, right?
Right. Yeah, because it was like, oh damn, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
like, what, we're drinking them the wrong conditions.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's Can you think of a bottle that you loved 10 years ago that you would not even go close to now?
Yeah, I'm sure there totally is.
Yeah. I think Canadian whiskey, when that comes to mind,
Canadian.
I think of like,
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, sorry, but I started with Canadian whiskey.
so do we. I mean, I don't know about you. I
No,
shouldn't
It
speak
was
for
all
you.
crown. It was
I
all
did.
crown for me. It was all crown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crown. A lot of
Crown
Crown.
is what I started with.
I liked a lot of Crown as well.
My old man was a huge Crown drinker. That's all he had was drink Crown and Coke all the time. But no, for me, the very first was like bourbon.
Yeah.
That's what got into it.
This is the intrigue one.
Yeah. Get it.
Yes.
So, in my eyes, glasses and everything just looked like someone dehydrated piss. Like someone just took a piss without drinking water from the night before.
It's true.
But the nose just right off the top, it's not exactly what I thought it would be by looking at the color. Then,
Yeah. So like we were describing, like what makes the local barley different? Does it give it like more kind of like farm kind of notes? Like that's what it is more in like the Bruichladdich, right? Like the Octomore, the local barley or the Isla barley Octomores are usually like more farmy, right? You get that like that hay note, that even that like weird manure kind of note to it.
Yeah.
It's like more farm, like wet dirt.
Yeah, farmy, very
Wet dirt,
farmy.
Yeah, wet cardboard box.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going on here.
But I get barbecue on this.
There's a whole bunch of
Oh damn!
like a sweet anise.
This is like nothing I've smelled before though.
Yeah.
No, this is very like anise seed kind of like note.
Yeah. I just poured this Hazelburn. Have I had this one before? The 12 Oloroso?
No, that's the new one.
Okay.
That was a bottle split as well. Yeah, you can tell this is going to be intense. Like it's 55.1%.
But see, on the nose, it's not even.
No.
I couldn't tell this has got that much alcohol.
No.
I mean, I don't feel it. There's some that you smell it. They're like over 45, and you're like, holy shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Where'd you get this Macaloni's Glencairn?
They sent it to me.
No fucking way.
They like me better than
Man, I want give me more of those.
I would love a whole bunch
It's a
of
nice
these.
Glencairn.
It's a great Glencairn.
I like that.
They like me more than they like you.
Clearly.
Yeah, right. Rob always does like the really good like networking, you know, like the smoozy talk. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't fucking give a shit about that.
Yeah, you're more of the local celebrity amongst like Toronto Whiskey Society. They like you, and all the like Facebook communities like you.
Yeah, the Facebook communities do like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not me.
They hate you.
They
Wait a
don't-
minute, but you got other skills though. Like you were telling me last time, you barista stuff that you do, right?
Oh, the
Yes.
coffee stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
I just got into coffee. Yeah.
not
So-
just,
Well, like a year ago.
but you're like,
Hardcore.
yeah, this guy
I
doesn't do
don't-
anything
Crazy
half-assed.
hard. Dude, most recently, cigars and coffee, I like dove headfirst into both genres and like absolutely love it. And I love learning about it, right? It's the same thing with whiskey. The exact same passion I had for whiskey, I have for those two things too. Two consumables that are like almost the same in the respect that like growing regions, like brew methods. The same with cigars, like
Right.
like tobacco growing regions, like they're so different, and like the different blends that you make with like using different tobaccos from different areas. Like, it's so cool.
You're
man.
so right. Like to me, that's very right. To me, it's enrichment in a way, right? Like, because this is opening like other things that I never really seen. In my mind, it's just been closed off to it. You know, I will just say that to what you're saying, and you were talking about like drinking wine and
Yeah.
some of your people that drinks wine. Take a trip to Napa, because what you're going to learn there, right, by going to some of these different wineries, then you're going to come out and be like, okay, so who else is doing this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think wine is the next thing that I can see you getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like wine,
Yeah,
but I
But you
do
didn't like-
appreciate good wine
right.
because we had some amazing wines at that restaurant,
Absolutely.
and they were phenomenal.
They were phenomenal.
And I loved
and
them.
that's how it starts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It starts with it was a great meal, had a great experience. Hey, by the way, what was that we drank the
Right?
other day?
Yeah.
And then you go get that, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, what is
Like,
this
oh,
shit
yeah,
next
what was
to it?
that?
Yeah.
$600 a
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah.
Okay,
$600.
Well,
Yeah,
you
we
pay-
had some crazy shit.
Well,
down
you're
there.
paying 3-4x whatever you get on the shelf,
Yeah.
right? On a restaurant.
True.
So,
Yeah.
but then you start to look at it and you say, okay, so Napa's been like kind of like this thing for a long time. Where else can I get some shit that I may like? So now you're like, oh, what about Bordeaux? Bordeaux is the region where in France where you get like this wonderful wines. Then you're like, oh, what about Mendoza in Argentina? They make fucking incredible red wines.
Yeah.
And so, and now Paso Robles is another region in the California side that's now outdoing almost a lot of what Napa was doing.
Yeah.
And so there's all these things happening in that side of the equation. And then you're like,
The
man,
rabbit hole is crazy with all these things.
Yeah.
Like, once you get
I'm
into
telling you right
them,
now, I'm not going to rabbit hole wine. I just can't. There's just,
but
there's
you
too
also
Well,
said
wait,
that
don't
about
say that.
coffee.
There's
don't
just
say
too
I'm,
much.
I'm getting ready to throw some
No,
shit
no,
at
no,
you.
there's too
Right?
much.
No.
Don't say it,
Dude,
Jeremy.
Dude, 2 years ago, this
I'm
guy
not doing
couldn't
it.
stand. I'm like, can I make you an espresso? He's like, I don't drink that shit. Like, there's like no.
Don't say it, Jeremy.
2 years ago,
'Cause
he
that was-
hated coffee.
Don't say it because I was on the same wagon. All I'm saying to you is, if you go to a place like that where it's wine region, don't go for the shit that's on the shelf that you can easily get.
Yeah.
Go to a winery that's small, local, that doesn't distribute nationally. And what you're gonna get there, right, is the experience that you never thought you will get. And
I
then
don't
at that
doubt that.
then at
At
that
all.
point, you're gonna be like, that experience is you're gonna leave from there, you're gonna reflect on it, and then you're gonna be like, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Now I want to go check some other shit. And that's what happened to me. Like when I went to Napa we only went there one time. Now we're planning to go, what about Sonoma?
Yeah.
What about now Paso Robles is up and coming.
Yeah.
What can we and they got, by the way, they got great beer out in San Francisco.
Every time I take a sip of wine, I'm like, I could really use a whiskey right now.
Well, but that doesn't mean you can double fist.
good
So let's not cut ourselves short here.
It's
You
true.
know?
It's true.
I'm not going to deep dive wine. I'm telling you right now. It's like I'm not going to. But
You don't
I,
know, I would say like never say never.
never.
You also said you hated coffee.
I never said I hated coffee. I said I haven't ever had good coffee
You never liked coffee.
because I never had good coffee until I did.
But now you appreciate the coffee that I
But I'm a
make.
huge coffee snob. Like I'll drink like cheaper whiskeys and enjoy them. I will not drink cheap coffee. Never. I will never. I would rather just go without.
Yeah, it's really hard to go places now and not look at the things that really satisfy you, and then look at how much they really cost.
Yeah.
So like you go to a restaurant, you're like, all right, like there's a spot that I go to, it's called the Pub, right? It's kind of like an Irish UK type of setup in the US, and in the Pub, bro, they do some awesome flight.
These guys are not
flight
reading our
deals.
shit. Your brother said.
What?
These guys are not reading our shit.
Because we're talking, mother. All right, so
you know what?
Yeah, let's get interactive.
Yeah, we should. Okay, let's try to.
Sorry, we got caught up in the moment.
You know what? We're excited. We've
got
not had this opportunity
I
before.
know. This is what happens when you put us together in a room.
It's true.
So anyway, we did talk about this briefly. The
16 local barley was
It is.
unreal.
Yeah, it's amazingly good. If that's one that you want to like spend money on an auction, you should go for that.
All right, I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna try to work this thing a little bit better here. Just free up my left hand.
So,
yeah, the 16 local barley.
well, I'm gonna give it a shot right now
It is-
because I poured it and
it is
haven't
so
tasted it.
So we got
So,
Mikey in the
I'm
house
gonna-
from Malt Reviews. What's going on, brother?
I'm gonna give a direct feedback right here to Jeremy.
Okay.
Because he called barbecue out. Let me see what I'm gonna pick up out of it. The nose is just like I can't even make out what it is yet.
It's
Yeah.
it's got like almost like
It's like
an agave, like aniseed, like there's
It's
a whole
almost
bunch. There's a bunch of
like
different stuff
very
going on.
subtle ripe pear almost.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I can't even know. Maybe dates. I can't even tell you what it is right now.
I get your pear for sure. There's something agave like in there, like almost like a mezcal.
The mezcal is well. Funny you say that because the mezcal is almost giving it like that little smoky,
Yes.
little dangling something there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're reading your stuff now, guys. Fire away.
Yeah.
Peter White's been very active in the chat tonight. Thank you very much, Peter. 43 people watching. So we
picked up the pace.
40
Yeah.
is pretty solid for.
yeah.
So we started with like what 27, I think is
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
called out
Yeah.
first. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. I mean, these guys definitely my inspiration to come up here for sure.
This is an honor for us.
The pleasure is ours,
Yeah.
for sure.
We usually don't get YouTube Whiskey Tube royalty.
This is
I
10
wouldn't
years
here.
10 years in the making.
I wouldn't
right
even call it that. Don't turn the shit on me.
now.
You guys did inspire me to walk away from everything I was doing. I'm in Toronto. Come on. The event is now bigger than what we're doing. That's what I'm saying, right? Like that's the message I'm sending is this is awesome,
I appreciate
And I'm so happy that you open the doors and allow me to come to your home. And trust that, right? Because for all we know, like you could have probably thought we were real criminals. Where was we not? Like criminals don't go on camera all the time. But
they don't admit their crimes. on camera.
right. The walkouts and all that, the real walkouts, by the way. Not make believe. But no, it's in all seriousness, this is better than I think I envisioned it, if that makes sense.
That's
Because-
awesome. That's awesome to hear.
Because I walked with no expectation. I was telling you, my wife was like, Carlos, are you excited to go there? By the way, my name is Carlos. But he said, you excited to go there? We're like, well, I don't even know what we're going to do. We haven't even talked it through.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
really,
For all we know, we're going to go live. We're going to, like they're going to do a review or we're going to talk about other videos and then sip on stuff where we talk shit. And and it turned out that, it's all of it,
You know what's cool about YouTube is that like in no other world could this exist. Like we felt like letting you into our house. I mean, letting you into my house was just I was letting a buddy in because we've been like
I get
cyber buddies for like years.
Because I was thinking the same thing too, and I get that because if it would have been the flip side, and you guys happen to be in Orlando or let's say Miami where my brother lives, like to me it's no problem. It's like we're familiar with what we're doing, and I know based on just judging of character, that you guys are people that, they're upstanding individuals. So it wouldn't be like a thing to me to say, well, I'm not just going to let them come into my house because we feel this threat presence of some sort,
exactly. Yeah.
So I'm super glad that, that we're doing it because I think, and not that I'm inviting myself, but I think this is going to open the door for other things to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You go to Florida a lot. We used to go to Florida more because my parents used to have a place in Estero, but
Estero is beautiful. And everything's growing up that way. Like everything's going from like Fort Myers, like Naples, Fort Myers.
That's
Estero,
where my sister-in-law's from.
Bonita Springs, all that around there.
Yeah. That's how my brother and his wife met because she's from Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is the best kind of YouTube live where you just grab bottles, shoot the shit, talk about what you're pulling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Is this the time when the Pete lovers take the glasses off? Maybe
we got to see that.
Glasses on.
we should have all had glasses on tonight. It's true.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, next time maybe we'll do a collab when my brother is allowed to leave the States.
When that bracelet comes off his ankle, we'll do it.
Your brother's calling you out right now.
What is the bitch saying? Hi, Carlos. Look at him.
This is what he called me. Ball sniffer.
He's jealous right now.
Oh, well, he's always been jealous. Since we were kids, ain't nothing changed. Yeah. Ain't nothing changed. I've always been more charismatic. So, by the way, for everybody that's watching, my brother and I were talking about like, hey, if that actually happened, that would be so awesome. So leading up to this moment, my brother didn't know shit. True story is he had no idea I was meeting with. He knew I was coming to Toronto, but he didn't know when.
Yeah.
But he didn't know. And when you posted that, he's like, all of a sudden, we're talking about it earlier. Back, we're in the green room, and and Rob was like, he really don't know. I was like, nah, bitch ass don't know.
Yeah, and
That's
now
awesome.
he's coming here in September, so he'll fill that seat.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
We'll have tampons here for you, bro.
Yeah.
When you're in your little menstrual cycle. Yeah.
But are you guys gonna do more videos? You got more reviews planned?
Well, remember, I don't know if we talked about it maybe earlier, but I know my brother started a new job, more demanding. And so we really haven't had the shot. I actually contemplated doing a couple of solos, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings because,
Right. You might get jealous. If your video gets more views.
Yeah.
Right.
It always happens. It always does. When I go solo, everybody goes crazy. And so, it's just one of those,
what?
Check the stats. I'm not lying. Check the stats, everybody. Check solo against solos.
You know what? When you guys get together for holidays or whatever, if you do save a little bit of time, take an hour out, record a couple.
We try. The problem is that we haven't done anything with everybody in the family. Well, look, we got a family cruise coming up in October, and his bitch ass decided not to go. Wow. So that would have been a great opportunity, right? Not only to do a video amongst us, but then to get our sons with us.
That's cool.
Do a review on the cruise ship.
Oh, boy, I'm going to do one for sure.
Yeah.
But he opted not to go. He's still got time to join because we're going in like middle of October or something like that.
What's the drive from Orlando to Miami?
Well, it depends. Where my brother's at, because my brother's closer to the Keys.
Okay.
Right?
That's
like
really
a good 4.5 from my house.
Yeah.
If I went to my mother's house in Brickell, which is downtown Miami, about 3.5.
Yeah, because when we were in Estero, we drove to Miami. It took about like 3.5, 4, right?
Well, the thing with Estero is you're on the opposite side of the coast.
Right.
Right?
From Orlando.
You're on the west coast of Florida. You got to cross the state and then go down.
Yeah.
And so, it could be painful.
I feel like it took about 4 hours. Yeah. I could be wrong about that, but that was a long time.
From Estero, I would say about 3 for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Where would you rank Florida in all the states as far as like availability and price for whiskeys?
It's hard to say because I think we're fairly priced. meaning I travel enough that if I told you that I grabbed the same bottle of Macallan, let's use Macallan's 12 as a regular off the shelf.
Yeah.
In Orlando, maybe $65. In LA, maybe 85.
Okay.
Right? Where that same bottle in Orlando at 65, maybe in Miami at 68.
Okay.
But that's in the same state. But if I went, let's say, for instance, in DC and trying to get a bottle of Macallan 12, it's probably about 75.
Okay.
You know, so there's probably about a good 20% sliding scale depending on where you go.
Because, like, from our opinion, from just like looking on and visiting some states, it seems like Florida is one of the better states to buy whiskey in, especially Scotch, as far as like availability and price.
We do have a lot of good product available to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So almost to the point that it becomes hard to pick.
And see, like, California also seems way up there as far as like one of the better states to shop in. California and Florida seem like they're two really good states.
What's good about California is you can import from pretty much anywhere to California.
They get a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. But the problem, like, I mean, the prices are not the best always.
Yeah.
But
like
direct from Cali.
Florida tax is pretty low, so you get some good prices there, right?
Like what's
so the sales tax depending on the county, but like
5%, right?
6.5.
Yeah.
Well, it could range depending where you are. I think Miami's 7%. My county, I'm 7%. But if I drive up 3 miles and I'm in Orange County, because I'm in Osceola County, 7%.
Yeah.
If I go to Orange County, which is 3 miles up, is 6.5%.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So it all depends. You know, maybe like a half a point.
That half percentage you save in gas.
Well, we got an electrical vehicle. So.
Perfect. Oh, you're laughing.
Yeah. So yeah, but
like, look, like Florida is not like it's not state controlled, right? It's not state
no,
controlled.
like Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia
Right.
is state controlled.
Yeah.
I think Ohio is as
Ohio,
well,
I think too, right?
Is it?
I
don't know that.
Maybe not.
Well, you know what? I don't know because I go to Ohio every month. I go to Cincinnati
Okay.
for a week every month.
Oh wow.
But I never went to buy a bottle while I'm there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go check it out next time.
Yeah.
I think their pricing is fair, but you can't buy outside of state if you're in Ohio. I think that's
The guys in the chat will know. I'd rather stay in Texas. Texas is a good spot, yeah?
Texas would seem like a good spot.
Yeah.
What's the drive to Texas from Florida?
Oh fuck!
It's long, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, depends.
You gotta go all the way. You gotta go to
Florida.
Jacksonville and go all the way over.
Well, if you're in Pensacola to go to Texas, maybe not that terrible.
Yeah.
If you're in Miami,
yeah, fuck that.
It's a hike. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
That
boat
makes-
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hop the wall.
I've been to more places in the U.S. than I've been in Canada, believe it or not.
Get out of here.
Yeah, like outside of Ontario, I've only been to Quebec and BC.
Yeah, I'm probably the same way actually.
I've been
I've been to more
more
states
states.
than I have been provinces.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah. Because I've been Arizona, and then I went to like Hollywood, Los Angeles, drove from there to
Vegas.
Vegas.
Mhm.
So that's 2 states, yeah.
Yep.
And then Florida, I've been all over Florida.
You've been to the Hoover Dam and over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be the first year, this new year, that the U.S. is going to do away with the daylight savings.
Yeah. See,
Finally.
and we're gonna
It's
maybe
the dumbest
Because
shit.
I hate it.
It's the only country in the world that uses the metric system of like freaking, miles per hour, and you know what I mean, like
It's true.
Fahrenheit versus like Celsius.
I still can't figure out Fahrenheit. I know Fahrenheit a little bit because for whatever reason, my thermostat is still in Fahrenheit. So I have to I'm at like 72 in the house right now.
so like the metric system.
You have like a translation table next to it.
I roughly know that that's like 21.
The metric system makes sense to me because it's like it's based on like the planet, right? So you take like the equator to the equator and you divide it, and then you get meters,
Yes.
right? You get kilometers.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Boiling water at 100 degrees makes sense. Freezing water at 0 makes sense.
Yes.
Fahrenheit is like, what's boiling? 232. Freezing's like minus 32. or
No,
something.
freezing's 32 below.
Right.
Yes, below
in
32.
Fahrenheit, if
Yeah.
you're at 31, let's see, 31 degrees Fahrenheit is already freezing temperature.
Right. 31.9
Right.
technically, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like those numbers are just like based on weird stuff from a long time ago that makes no sense.
Right.
What I like about that system is
Feet in
measuring
inches?
height.
Feet
Yeah.
in inches.
Measuring height. Yeah. Feet
Yeah.
in inches. Like
You know we had enough to drink because we're talking a whole bunch of other shit.
Metric system.
Yeah.
they can relate. They
Yeah,
all
of
know.
course, everybody. Like you make the argument of why does that matter?
Yes.
And the reality is, why is it that the U.S. wants to be so much different than the rest of the world?
Yeah.
That's
this
really
is-
what it comes down to for me.
This makes the least sense for me. Like the way the rest,
Centiliters?
yeah, like milliliters makes sense to me.
Milliliters, but centiliters.
Centiliters is fine because it's just
It's
every
just divided by
centiliter is
10.
10 milliliters,
Yeah.
right? But you guys use like fifths and like I don't even know
Pint.
what's a full bottle called?
A full
40, right?
Well,
No, it's not 40.
no. Well, we do 750 mls.
Yeah.
In the U.S., not 700.
Yeah, but what's the like? Because 750 ml is still using the metric.
It's like a fifth of a gallon or something.
Oh shit, you got me. I'm done with that shit. Like,
Yeah, right. Like
I can
it's-
never get it right.
Yeah,
It just
So,
to
like,
me
A
is
gallon is like 2 point something liters, and then a fifth of a gallon would be like 750 milliliters.
what's
Ish.
you guys are probably there's 31 people in the chat right now. I would say 25 of them are American. What is the American term for a bottle of?
fifth?
A bottle of
it's
bourbon.
A fifth of a gallon.
Is it a fifth?
I want to say that's true.
I think
a fifth is a fifth of a gallon is approximately.
the only reason I know is
Really?
because Eminem in one of his songs says he drank a fifth of Kool-Aid.
fifth.
Dare me to drive.
Yes, that's right.
But
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah, it is 1/5. Travis Faircloth just said it.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's some of these things that could be absurd in a way. Because look, I came from a country where it was the metric system of kilometers per hour,
Right.
based on distance.
Yeah.
And then that was the first thing.
Yeah.
Then you come in and you're like, wait a minute, why are we doing it in miles?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were Celsius and everything, and the temperature wise,
Yeah.
and then why is it Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
But then when you start to look at everybody around the world, no one else does it that way.
Right.
So it's almost
It makes no sense.
right.
It makes no sense. Like I could you can argue measurement, whatever, but like boiling point and freezing point. Boiling at 100, freezing at 0, that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
Right? That
Yeah,
makes
absolutely.
sense. You cannot argue that. Temperature should be in Celsius.
Yeah,
Regardless of anything else.
I don't know why 30.
America should adapt that first. Let's just take temperature.
That temperature
we'll leave
makes the
everything
most
else.
sense.
We'll switch the way we talk about temperature.
I wonder if but the problem is now, like when we cook, we use Fahrenheit.
Right. You said
So I have no idea what 450 degrees is in
it's
Celsius.
Like, it's like
and
it's
I'm
like
from
265.
here.
Oh, so you guys actually cook on Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's
your
crazy,
oven
it's
and
crazy.
Yeah, because it's
okay. Well, I mean, look.
But when someone says like, "Oh, my house is 22 degrees," you're thinking like, "Oh my god, that's like so cold." But it's like that's 70.
Yeah, well, that just happened
Seven.
right now to
Yeah.
me
Oh,
in the
earlier.
hotel.
right?
Oh,
In the
okay.
hotel.
Yes.
Because I'm about to walk out. I'm like, when I come back, I want this bitch to be freezing.
Yeah.
Right? And I go like, oh, 22, 20. Like, wait a minute. Where's the Fahrenheit shit?
Like, I come
Yeah,
back, all
yeah.
my shit's gonna be frozen. into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, don't go under like 19 because then you literally will freeze.
Oh, well, yeah, I changed the Fahrenheit quick enough to know that I wasn't going to like fuck with the unit. Yeah, but it's just one of those things, But anyway, going back to our regular scheduled.
Yeah,
Whiskey.
guys. I mean, thank you for like sticking around through all that.
I
That was-
know.
you guys are awesome. Honestly, there's still 33 people in the chat.
That is so cool.
You guys are badass. I love that you guys stuck around for this whole thing. We were on for almost 2 hours. Like,
Really? It's been that long?
it's gonna be 2 hours and 1 minute.
Wow.
So you guys are awesome. I love that you were here. Probably a bunch of West Coasters at this point. I would think. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it?
Oh yeah, good question.
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's 11,
Mhm.
10 after 11.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad. So maybe the West Coasters are still not in yet, but
It's 7 p.m. over there.
I think maybe we'll let these gentlemen that have been hanging out with us for 2 hours chill, and we're gonna chill. We're gonna shoot the shit and enjoy our time
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
Dude, this was awesome.
No, this was freaking fantastic. Listen, thank you for hosting one of the two South Florida Pete lovers.
Yes.
South Florida Pete lover number one, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah.
And then, hopefully we'll get to do some more of these. But this is, it's just been the hospitality is no pun intended because I'm in that field, but it's just been tremendous. And the fact that everyone that's been watching and took your time to join and stick around to just for all the BS, to kind of like talking all the stuff that we're talking through. And I'm already learning shit, and I still got like half a bottle to go.
At least.
But thank you. And I appreciate it, man. This obviously,
pleasure.
we're going to talk more about this, but just for the record, it's just been a pleasure, right, to show up and be welcomed and really just have the opportunity to do some with you guys is super cool.
It would honestly, that's what I love about this YouTube thing. And like, there's going to be a time where I might like slow down the Whiskey and the Six stuff and just, do the podcast thing. Obviously still on Whiskey and the Six for those who watch it on there. But this is the best part.
Yeah.
This is the best part. Like the interaction part. It's hard for me to get in front of a camera by myself and record a review these days. I don't know about you, but like I find it tough to just like, shoot the shit by myself.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. That's why I don't bring myself to do it by myself.
It's tough.
Because you feed off each other's energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, the energy has been off the charts. It may not, I don't know, to you guys on the other side of the glass, may not feel that way, but here is nothing but like, it's cool. It's just cool.
Appreciate that, man.
Well, like we've been Pete lovers for a decade. We've been watching your channel forever.
Yes.
So the pleasure is ours to have
Absolutely.
you here.
Yeah.
100%.
No,
For sure.
awesome. No, thank
For
you.
sure.
And by the way, they got to see my eyes today.
That's right. That's true.
And they're not blue. So that's cool. Well, listen, so let me take this one away.
Yeah.
For the Whiskey and the Six and the South Florida Pete lovers, bringing the goods. Thank you for joining us.
That's it.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
Cheers.
Have a good night, everyone.